G'day everybody. G'day everybody and welcome back. Been a bit going on in my life, so these videos have started to become very far and few between. I know most of you don't care, but just a bit of a brief explanation on that. I work in the wine industry. We're just coming out of this year's vintage now, which is a very, very busy time. I'm a one-man band, so when I get to work, we're running around the clock at the moment, and I am the only maintenance person in this winery. So when I get to work, there's usually outside my workshop heap of pumps they've burned out impellers in, and these guys don't have a lot of mechanical sympathy, and there's always something broken or something for me to fix. So my days are very, very busy, and I'm really finding it hard to get any motivation to come home and do more work. So it is what it is. This isn't my job. This doesn't pay my rent. Right. So where are we at? I sent the side covers, the tail section, the tank off to a friend of mine, Adrian, who's also a friend of Mick's, the guy whose dad owns this bike. And Adrian is a panel beater spray painter in another life. He doesn't do that now, but he still does it as a hobby, I guess. Adrian's into old Fords, him and his dad, and they've got some nice old Escorts and Cortinas and things, and Adrian's always, and Falcons, Fairmont, I think Adrian's got at the moment. So Adrian's always blowing paint on something. And he agreed to paint Bill's bike. So the GS1000 came in a lot of different colours, and some of them were very iconic. Adrian has done a really good job tidying up the panels on this particular bike. He and Mick repaired the damaged plastic cover. It's got quite a bit of fiberglass on it. It's quite thick and heavy now, but they've done a very good job repairing that. Painted the tank and the tailpiece, and they all came up wonderful. Although this bike's been down the road big time on that right hand side, and there was a fair bit of body filler and that used in the tank, but it is what it is. So what colour did Bill want it painted? I mean, there's so many iconic colours available for the GS1000, but to no surprise, he chose the colour that he'd already painted it. So it's the maroon, and here we are. So what I'm going to try and do is hang this panel. Now, last weekend I was a long week. Oh, sorry, not a long weekend. We had Easter, so I had like 4 days in a row off, and I brought my my good TIG welder home and big bottle of argon and everything, and I was all keen I was going to do something. Long story short, best laid plans of mice and men, a lack of motivation and a lot of other tasks that needed to be done around the house meant that I didn't get the job done. So that's all gone back to work now. I need to weld some brackets on this thing. I'm hoping that I've got enough gas in my little argon bottle here at home, and I'll try and use my little lift arc TIG. I haven't used that thing for ages, and being used now to high frequency starts, etc., it might prove a bit tricky for me. And if it does, I'll just take this thing to work, or I'll bring the mountain to Mohammed, and I'll bring the welder back home again. But we're going to see how we go. One of the reasons that I believe this was someone's cafe racer project gone wrong is the fact that they have cut all the bracketry off for these side covers. So what I did was I went to Mrs. Suzuki and I bought the rubber mounts that the side cover sits on. So there's two at the top, and then it's got a peg that pushes into a mount at the bottom. I knocked up some right angle brackets just out of some RHS rectangular RHS, and I need to try and sort of eyeball where these are going to sit on the frame, and then try and weld these brackets in place so we can hang this thing. That's the plan. So I've looked at photographs and that online, and the best I can sort of gather is that it is forward of that rear bar there, sort of wants to follow this this stainless steel or chrome cover on the end of the airbox. And we don't want to be that high that we hit the tank. It looks like these come off the bottom. I've already gone ahead and taken the paint out of the way. So these will sort of go in here somewhere. The plan is just to sit it in the bracket and clamp it onto the frame, and then make sure everything's kosher, and then try and tack it in place and have a look. We don't want it that far off the frame that it's poking out. We don't want it that close to the frame that it's in the wrong position. So just a bit of mucking about. I think this is kind of close, if I'm honest. I'll tack them in place, and then I can always bend them a little bit to tweak it. Alright, so I'll set up my welder, drag it out of the box, set up the welder, hope I've got enough gas here at home, and I'm going to just try and tack those guys where they are. See how we go. Alrighty, let's pop that bit of rubber off of there. See how we go with the little lift arc. I'll just try and I've got a tack on him. Let's do this side. Right. Well, this one I did straight away with filler wire, whereas this one I just fused together. That one went much quicker. Alright, so let's have a look. It's not going to melt the rubber. Pretty good, a bit high at this side. So sticks good, the old TIG. tap with a slight adjuster. Right, pretty happy with that. I'll just put a bit more welders on that. Of course, a bloody MIG welder would be handy about now. I don't have one of those, so you just got to piss with the dick you got, not the one you want. It's not exactly stacked dimes, but good enough for the girls that I go out with. There is a little bit of porosity in there, a couple of little holes. There's a fair bit of impurities, the paint on the frame. The thing about TIG welding is you've got to have it absolutely spotless, and I didn't, but it's good enough, it'll hold up. So you've got to hold a little bit of plastic on there. Alright, so there's still a mount to go on the bottom, but before I get too far down the path of no return, point of no return, see at the moment I've only got these top brackets and I can tweak them. I think I'll put the tank on, put the seat on and make sure it all still fits. Alright, it's pretty good. It's a bit hard to get on with the seat actually pegged on there. I think it's sitting a little high, so I might just try and tap that down a bit. Slide adjuster. Right, try that. It's a little more favourable. The line here is good. The line there's good. Plenty of clearance on the tank. I like it. I like it. So that's where it's going to sit. Alright, so now this is the rubber mount for the bottom pin. So now I've just got to try and work out. I've got a fabricated bracket, weld it on there, try and work out its location, and then drill a hole in it to accept this rubber sleeve. Alright, now just trying to eyeball this. Looks like that peg is about there somewhere. Oh, that's too low. It's a little bit high. So our peg is right here. So we need to make a bracket that will sit in that area there. Okay, so we want to, this is our hole where our hole needs to land. So we want to make sure that we get enough bracket and that's essentially what we need. Oh, so I've got a little piece of RHS here. I'm going to try sort of aim that around the middle of the RHS. Actually, that's the bit with the seam. I want the other side. Just going to eyeball that angle and the approximate length. I'll give it a little bit of extra. Go and chop that off with a grinder, and we'll come back and offer it up again. I think that'll be good enough for the girls that I go out with. I'll just round that off a bit, take the sharp edges off, and we'll be able to offer it up and have a bit better look. Lovely. And that's where that will sit, and that will go in there. So what I'll do now is take some paint off of that. Try and tack it in place. With these lift arc machines, you tend to give your tungsten a really hard time. This one's just only about that long now, and if it goes, I don't have a spare here. I have a spare at work. Anyway, let's see how we go. Gas. This really is a very small caddy welder. We have an approximated position. Time for a little tappy tap tap. Just eyeballing it, looks pretty good. Yep. That there has to clear under there, which it does. Has to have a reasonable amount of strength, this thing. Now, I have removed the battery. If you're clever about it, you don't actually have to do that, but because I'm doing so much grinding and carrying on around here, I have. I would suggest that even though, provided you think about where your electrical current path is travelling. If you're smart enough about it, you don't need to actually disconnect or remove the battery. But if in doubt, always do that. I always do that. Because it's just not worth the risk. So disconnect it. I've completely removed it in this case. Right, let's see. I am not Jody from Welding Tips and Tricks. I'll give you the hot tip. Ah, no. That's that. A few too many amps. And the tungsten stuck. Started to burn a hole, and I tried to turn it and it caught the side of the tungsten. And that's all I got left. I'll try and dress it up, turn the amps down and get a bit more of a tack in there. If not, it's enough for us to do what we got to do. And I can come back later. How deep is that? Yep, no. Well, that's the end of the welding for now. Yes. That's the end of the welding for now. But I do have enough of it on there that we can go ahead and bore it out and mount this little grommet. And I can come back later. The spare tungstens are at work, so I can come back later and finish welding that. At least I've got a good solid tack top and bottom. Alright, onward. Oh, now we need to mark out where we're going to drill our hole. Ideally I'd have a paint pen, but I don't have one, so I'm just going to put a dollop of grease on the end of the little button, and hopefully that'll be enough to leave a witness mark for us. Make sure that's down where it needs to be. There you go. One witness mark. I'll start that with a centre drill. Yep, that'll do just fine. Okay, so according to my dial calipers, just trying to eyeball it in there, would appear to be about a 12mm hole. So we'll go in with a step drill and see how close we can get. 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so my hope here is that this will be able to be forced through that hole. If not, I'll have to slot it out. Let's see, eh? There we go. Now, is it too constricted? Let's find out. Yeah, I think it is. Oh, slip that off of there. Trying to withdraw it without breaking the pin off. I think I'll make that hole a little bit bigger, and I've dropped the rubber off that too somewhere. Take it up to 12.5. Okay, I can't find that other bloody rubber. Can't have gone too far, can it at all? I'm sure it'll surface shortly. Give that a little tappy tap tap. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That extra 1/2 millimetre made all the difference. Lovely. Well, I might pop the seat and the tank back on now and have another look. Good enough for the girls that I go out with. Alright, let's have a look at it with the tailpiece on it. Okay, so that tailpiece is currently just sitting on there. I haven't bolted it up yet, but no, all good. Wondering whether or not that needs to go in a lot more on the top. Whether it needs to come up really a lot closer to the frame. Oh, it's only a couple of mil off the frame now. Just looks like it needs to. I'll need to go and have a look at some more photographs. But, you know, generally pretty good. I'm really happy with the way that is held in there now. It's not going to go anywhere. We've reinstated bracketry that was long gone. It just needs to be finished welding and a bit of paint. And of course I need to do the same on the other side. But I think that'll do us for now. So until next time, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. And I'll catch you next time on Andy's Motorcycle Obsessions. Bye for now.